New data from the Labor Department shows the U.S. added 339,000 jobs last month. That's nearly 150,000 more jobs than originally projected.
This comes just as a trend that grew during the pandemic of people switching jobs for better pay shows signs of slowing down. New research from Bank of America shows before the pandemic, people commonly saw around a 10% pay increase when changing employers. At the peak of the Great Resignation, when millions of workers quit their jobs, those increases rose to 20%. But as of April 2023, those numbers leveled off to about 13%.
CBS MoneyWatch Associate Managing Editor Irina Ivanova joins us now. And Irina, what is behind the falling number of workers switching jobs for better pay?
So overall, the job market is cooling. It's obviously still a very tight job market, but we're not seeing these intense raises that we saw during the pandemic. So the rate of people quitting jobs for any reason is almost down to its pre-pandemic levels. And along with that, we're seeing the bonuses, the raises that people get for switching jobs come down. Not quite to pre-pandemic levels, but close. And of course, part of that is that inflation is also falling. So that's that's reflected in the wage gains. But part of that is also there's just not quite as many jobs out there, and employers are not quite as intensely looking for new hires.
It's interesting because it is just a shift from what we had been hearing in recent months. And I wonder if there are differences based on what people earn when you talk about this job switching.
There are some pretty big differences, and raises for switching are falling sort of for all income brackets, but they're falling most dramatically for the people who make the most money. So six-figure earners during the pandemic, they saw raises over 10% for switching jobs, and now that's down to around 7%. On the flip side, the good news is that people who make the least money, those who make $25,000 a year or less, their pay raises for job switching are almost on the same level they were during the pandemic. So they're getting about 35% now.
35% still,
which is significant. Yeah, so that has held up fairly well.
Yeah, interesting.
And so, I mean, who doesn't want more money? So if people do want a pay increase, what should they do? Should they stay at their job and hope for a bonus, or should they go somewhere else?
I say it almost never makes sense to hope for a bonus or a raise because your company is not just going to give it to you. You usually have to ask for it and make the case for it. But look, the data show that it does still pay to switch. The Atlanta Fed tracks this pretty consistently, and they're showing that job hoppers are still seeing increases about 20% more than job stayers. The difference is, that used to be a much bigger gap. It used to be like a 50% bonus for leaving, and now it's come down a little bit.
You mentioned, Irina, a moment ago, the fact that the folks making six figures are the ones who are seeing sort of the least when it comes to raises. That increase is not as high as it was just a little while ago. And I wonder, is that because we've been hearing about tech layoffs? We've been hearing about, layoffs in other industries like that. Those are where those high six-figure earners tend to be. Does that have something to do with perhaps why we're not seeing those raises hold pace with what they were?
I think that's absolutely right. There has been a pretty significant slowdown in the white-collar job market. Again, even as the job market overall is still very strong, we have seen these high-profile layoffs, and I think that might make people less willing to jump ship to search for a new job. It might also make employers less willing to, hire somebody new with a gigantic pay increase as they're looking at these layoffs elsewhere. They're looking at a possible recession ahead.
All right, Irina Ivanova, thank you so much.
Thank you.